All right, next up, Dalton, in our top 10 D tackles list is our number 2 player, Deone Walker, out of Kentucky. Now, I want to tease this before we get into his game. We actually have an interview, one-on-one interview with Deone Walker coming up right after this breakdown. So you can fast forward to that part if you don't want to hear us ramble about him. You want to hear from Deone, the man himself. But he's a really, really fun player, man. Maybe one of those fun players to watch in college football right now.
Absolutely. Like he's the alien, he's the freakazoid, he's Godzilla, he's whatever you want to call him. Last year at 6'6" and 350, led the nation in pressures, led the Power 5 in sacks, the only SEC defensive tackle with 80-plus grades in run defense and pass rush, top 20 in everything pass rush related at that size. Makes no sense at all. And Max, you watch him at his size, and he's got like pass rush moves. I don't know if I've ever seen 6'6" and 350 with a spin move. And not just like trying a spin move, like a legitimate like break your ankle spin move at that size. It's insane the amount of finesse he plays with. As big as he is, he's a dominant force, especially in the pass rush. And he's got an 80-plus grade over the last 2 years, each of the last 2 years, 2022 and 2023. The only other two guys in the Power 5 that did that were Johnny Newton and Leonard Taylor, who were two of the best pass rushers in the country, right? Deone Walker almost can't be explained, like his level of athleticism at his size. Like, and we were just talking about it. I turned on the tape against Missouri. Cody Schrader must have nightmares about this guy. He saw him on every play, whether it was front side, back side, running counter, running duo, like anywhere. Oh, Deone Walker was just everywhere. And Luther Burden was hurt in that game, and it was a close game and all, but Deone Walker was almost single-handedly keep him in that game with his run defense. It was incredible. So he's flashed in both, and I think the scariest part is he's not even anywhere near fully polished yet. Like his get off is kind of straight up and down, and he could play with like a little more leverage and things like that. But the level of freak that he is, I think there's going to be scouts in the NFL that go, wow, this guy might be, if he's taught right, he might be Chris Jones. Because Chris Jones at 6'6" and about 310 is just a freak with the finesse and the hand usage and the length and the entire combination. I think there's going to be scouts that see that in Walker.
The best way I can describe Dion Walker is, one, he's the first guy off the bus. That is exactly what he is when you're watching his tape. And two, the dude does not make sense, man. He doesn't make any sense at all. Like you said, he's 6'6", 350 pounds. Just for reference, some of the other defensive tackles who are around 350 in the NFL right now: Quentin Bohanna, Siaki Ika, Michael Pierce, Vita Vea. Those are the guys who are right around the 350-pound range. And Vita Vea is really the only one that adds something as a pass rusher out of those guys. The rest of them are kind of true nose tackles. Nobody was as dominant as Deone Walker is right now as a pass rusher in college, man. Because you look at other guys, too, who are like in that a massive range. Like, say, Jordan Davis, for example. Like, he adds nothing really as a pass rusher, right? He's around 336 at 6'6". The only guy who's like massive that adds as a great pass rusher is Dexter Lawrence in the NFL, who might be a top 2 or 3 D tackle in the NFL, or not might be, he is a top 2 or 3 D tackle in the NFL right now. So makes absolutely no sense for him to be that big and dwarf offensive linemen, whichever ones he's going against, he's dwarfing them, and also be a dominant pass rusher with, like I said, the most pressures in the country, most sacks in the Power 5 as well, second most valuable returning D tackle in the country over the last 2 years, according to our wins above average metric, sheer strength, unbelievable agility and finesse. In fact, I don't even think he's winning with his strength enough at that size. I think he's a little bit too much finesse at that size, but he's a freak athlete, man. And kind of tease the interview a little bit, he said he can run in the high 4.6s in the 40-yard dash at the NFL Combine. High 4.6s at 350 pounds. For reference, the record for a defensive tackle is a 4.67. That was run by Kalijah Cansey a couple years ago. Kalijah Cansey is nearly 70 pounds lighter than Deone Walker. And Deone Walker goes, yeah, I can run in the high 4.6s. This dude does not make any sense at all as a human being. Not even a football player, as a human being. This guy is an absolute alien. And one of the biggest unicorns that we have in college football right now. What are the weaknesses? Where can he improve and go from a guy who's already a freak of nature, Dalton? Where can he improve to be basically unblockable?
Yeah, I think the current weakness is actually the thing that's going to have scouts drooling over him, is that there is not a ton of polish right now in his game. His get off, like off the line of scrimmage, is a bit high. It's a bit straight up and down at his height. He doesn't always play with the most leverage in the run game, especially when he's getting double teamed and having to hold a gap like that. Like it's weird that he's that big and he's more of a finesse player. But if he starts playing with better leverage, honestly, because it's hard at 6'6", and you're inside and your hands in the dirt, and especially interior offensive linemen aren't tall like that. They're all, most centers and guards and stuff go between 6'2" and 6'4". If he plays with more leverage and he takes on like double teams and things like that, just with a better angle, more so, like, he's strong enough. I have no doubt he's strong enough to do it, especially his upper body strength is filthy. It's unbelievable. He just needs to get a little stronger in his lower body and then just use it better. Like, if he uses better leverage, like, think about all the finesse moves he has, and then think about if he added like a good leverage bull rush. I wouldn't know how to block that guy. Like, that's the scariest part. He's our number 2 defensive tackle. He's got all this physical ability, and I would put his polish at probably like a C+ or a B-.
Yeah.
Like, there is so far to go in his technique. And he's this good already. He could easily be argued on potential up to okay, he's actually the best defensive tackle in the country. Like,
yeah,
coming out next year, like if we see a different level of polish in his game this year, he's gonna go top 5. Could he go top 5? You think, even at his position?
Dude, if he runs a 4.6 at 330 pounds or whatever, like, it's like this guy doesn't exist. I'm sorry, like, you have to take him that high. Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah, like a team like a Denver or something like that would just be like, that's the piece. Like, that's the anchor. That's our, like, if he does that, if he runs a 4.6 and he adds just better technique, yeah, like that's Chris Jones. That's what you're talking about.
Yeah, and Chris Jones ran a 5-second 40-yard dash, by the way, at 3:10, by the way, too. So I agree with you. Like, that's the big thing with him, is that the leverage is definitely a area where he has to improve, and it's really hard for a player like him to play with leverage, like I said, when he's already 6'6". But I think a guy like Chris Jones is a guy that he should be watching a lot of tape, because I think Chris Jones plays with excellent leverage as well. Another guy is really tall at D tackle that plays with great leverage, I think, is DeForest Buckner as well. That's another guy that does that. So it is possible. It's obviously something that few have mastered, but if he does that, man, and he adds a bull rush to his game, because I don't really think he has it really too much right now, there's nothing you can say about him, because he's breaking out spin moves, like effective spin moves, Dalton, against SEC offensive linemen at 350 pounds and 6'6". Like, that should not be possible for a player his size. So Dion Walker, man, such an amazing player to watch, such a fun player to watch, and such a guy you need to know in the NFL draft next year. And also a very, very fun interview that we had one-on-one with the biggest freakazoid in college football right here, right now. Here's Deone Walker, the D tackle from Kentucky. Dion Walker, defensive tackle out of Kentucky. We consider him to be one of the best players in college football. And get ready, because next year is going to be one of the top picks probably in the 2025 NFL draft. If you declare Dion for the 2025 NFL draft. But Dion, man, I'm so pumped to have you on, dude. We were talking earlier about getting you on the show, and it's cool to finally be able to do this, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
Of course. So the first question, Dion, I love asking every player is, there's a moment in my life where I realized, okay, I'm not good enough to play high school football, college football, NFL, whatever. What was the moment in your life, though, where you're like, dude, I am dominating out here right now? Maybe an NFL career, maybe a college career is possible for me.
It wasn't really like, no, I'm dominating. It was more so one of my coaches that passed in high school, his name's Coach Sassy. I was going through some in high school, and I didn't really want to play there. I was just over it, done with everything. Coach says he literally came to my house, had a 3-hour sit down with me, like, you can change your family's life.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn, that's awesome, dude. That really, and you're gonna, man, which is a really cool story too as well. And like I said, man, we consider you to be one of the best players in the country. Obviously, you're from Detroit, Michigan, man, and you had an offer from the Wolverines, and I think a lot of people were expecting you to stay in home and go play for Jim Harbaugh at Michigan. What made you, though, want to go down to Lexington and play for Kentucky?
I just trusted Coach Stoops' word. He's, I consider him family for me. I like my D-line coach, Coach Stewart, and I knew they were going to put me in a position to showcase my abilities.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Was there a moment in your college career where you realized that, you're becoming quickly one of the top D tackles in the country, a star in college football? Was there kind of a moment there where you're like, okay, I can, not only play in college football, maybe make a career in the NFL too?
I say it was the off season from my freshman and sophomore year. That's when I really put in the most work, studied the most film, and my D-line coach, Coach Stewart, really just had to sit down with me. Like, if you want to be one of the top guys, you gotta really commit yourself.
Yeah, Absolutely, man. So another question I love asking players is, what would you say is your favorite play of that you've had in your career so far? For you, it probably would be that play against Florida, man, where you drop back in coverage and you just kill the guy out there in coverage, which is nuts for like a 300, whatever pound D tackle that you are. What is your favorite play though of your career so far?
Um, See, I say my freshman year against Florida when I made the big third down stop,
Mm-hmm.
the third and short stop, and just going into the swamp and beating them, you can't beat that feeling.
You can't, dude. Yeah, so you're just terrorizing the Gators is what I'm getting out of this so right now.
Yeah,
Honestly, what do you
little bro.
what do you think separates you from other D tackles around college football?
Um, Not just my size, I can eat up double teams. I can play that nose tackle, but I can also move out to the edge. I can play anywhere on the line. You know, I'm quick and elusive enough and got good enough hands to be able to be an every down player. And I feel like, you know, most defensive tackles, they the run stoppers or the edge rushers.
Yep.
There's not nobody that can really do both.
Yeah, and you do both, dude. Absolutely. So listen, I think D tackle is one of the most loaded positions in college football right now with you at the forefront of it, honestly. Do you feel like out of all those D tackles that we've mentioned before, do you think you're the best D tackle in the country right now?
I'm very humble, but I know when I put my work in. So, Mason, he's very good. Kenneth, those my guys. They really good. But, I'm never gonna say nobody better than me.
That's the right mindset to have, man. You mentioned Mason Graham already. Both of you guys could be like top 5 picks maybe in the NFL draft. You're both that good, I think. Do you know Mason personally? And have you like kind of watched his tape and kind of compare yourself to him a little bit?
Um, we don't really know each other personally. We met, I want to say once when I went back home, but I have studied a little bit of his tape. He's very quick off the ball. He has a high motor. He's just a very good overall football player.
Yeah, he absolutely is. And so are you, dude. And our draft analyst, Trevor Sycamore, so I was telling him about you when he was like, all right, who are the top guys to know from next year's draft? I was like, listen, this Dion Walker guy, 6'6", 350. He's like, okay. So he's like, okay, 6'6", 350. Like, he's going to be a run stuffer, like, doesn't add much as a pass rusher. I'm like, no. He led the nation in pressures, dude. Like, this guy's an alien. And he was like, oh, wait a minute. So do you feel like you're a true alien out there? Do you feel like you're like a unicorn in college football right now?
Uh, yeah, I feel like there's nobody else in college football that can do what I can do right now.
Yeah, fair enough, dude. Fair enough. So I actually have a contact at Kentucky. You told me about this, and I really want this to be true, but I want you to confirm it for me if it is or not true. Is it true that at Kentucky, there's a portion of your practice called No Dion because you blew up so many plays in practice that they needed to take you off the field? That way the offense could actually get something going. Is that true that they had to take you off the field for like the end of practice just to get something going offensively?
No, not during practices, but like during our spring game, uh, going into sophomore year, Coach Stoops had to throw me out. He had to tell me take off my shoulder pads.
You're killing them too
But
much. You're like, you can't have you out there, dude. I'm sorry.
yeah,
I love that, man. It's like, listen, you're too good. We need our offense to have some sort of confidence going into the game. We can't have you playing out there, man. That's when you know you're pretty special, man. But obviously, you mentioned before, like you're a freak athlete, dude. It's unbelievable what you could do out there. When you get to the NFL Combine, whether it be next year or 2 years from now, whenever, is there an event that you think you're just gonna wow people at, in a combine setting?
um, I say the 40.
The 40? What time are we talking here, dude?
The goal is high 4.6. Yeah,
Are you serious?
yeah,
Dude, you're like 330 pounds, right?
yeah, man. Coming into college, I ran a 4.9, like a mid 4.9. So I feel like I can get there.
Dude, holy crap.
I
Oh
feel like I
my,
can get there.
that is terrifying, Dion, dude. That is honestly, holy shit, man. I don't even know how to respond to that. Okay, next question, I guess, dude. What is your why, man? What makes you get out of bed every morning and be the best person you could be, honestly?
Um, just how I was grew up, my family means the world to me. You know, they always taught me whatever you're gonna do it 100%. And my coaches that passed in high school is really what's keeping me going right now. I lost three coaches in the span of, I want to say, a year and a half. So that was really hard on me. But one of my other coaches was like, either you're going to let this kill you or you're going to use it as motivation. And, that's just what I try to think about every day.
That's awesome, man. I'm sorry for your loss, obviously, but that's really great that you use that as motivation, and I'm sure they'd be really proud to see where you are now, man, honestly. But, yeah, that's great, man. So another thing I wanted to ask you, is there any defensive tackles, maybe in the NFL or guys that maybe have retired already? Is there any D tackles that you watch and say, that's the guy I'm trying to model my game after a little bit? It's hard for you because obviously you're such a unicorn and not many D tackles are built like you, but is there any D tackles that you like to watch and say, I'm going to try to take something from their game and implement it into my own game?
Yeah, early on it was Calais, Dexter Lawrence. Now more so with the hands wise, it's Aaron Donald. With the trying to become more of an edge rusher, it's Max Crosby and guys like that. So a little bit of everything.
I love that, man. So obviously, EA College Football 25 coming out this summer. Are you in the game, first of all?
Yes, I'm in the game.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. Thank God. I was worried that you weren't going to be in it for a second. That's huge. All right, so what should your rating in that game be?
I'm gonna feel disrespected if I'm under 92.
I think I would feel disrespected for you too as well, man. I think 95 plus is what we're talking here, Dion. I think you're underselling yourself a little bit, man. I can't wait to play with you in the game, man. That's gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna be a nightmare for other people trying to block you in that game. But what are some of your personal goals, man? Do you have any personal goals kind of heading into the 2024 season?
Yeah, I want to get down to around the 330 range. I want to learn our whole defense. Like, I want to learn everything about our defense, like our corners, what we run, what we run stuff against, like just learn it all inside and out. Um, and that's really it.
So I also heard from that person at Kentucky. Is it true that you sometimes call plays out for your defense too?
What do you mean?
Sometimes do you like call out the like when you're calling plays? Like I know usually sometimes the linebackers have that responsibility, but the source at Kentucky I was talking to is like, no, sometimes Dion's the one that sometimes is the one that's like telling the other defenders where to go on and play.
Yeah, I did that a few times during games. Really just if some of our defensive linemen wasn't really getting these type of plays when we were scheming them up earlier throughout the week, I just let them know as soon as I see the call, I tell them where to go, either Roy or Lou, stuff like that.
That's awesome, man. Like I said, usually it's the linebackers. This is a responsibility for them. But the fact that you're doing as a tackle is really impressive and just speaks to the student of the game that you are, I think, honestly, man. All right, so I got to ask you, man, have you paid attention to any way too early 2025 NFL mock drafts and see your name up there? Like, have you looked at that or no?
Um, I think I only looked at one because my dad sent it to me, and it had me like at number 3 going to the Patriots.
Ooh, okay. I'll send you mine too, man. We did a mock draft with you. I think we had to go to the Cardinals. I don't know if you like Arizona that much, but that's where we set you. Dude, how excited are you by that, man? Like, seeing your name at the top of these mock drafts and all that, like, to get you a little excited for this upcoming season and knowing that your dream of playing in the NFL could be happening pretty soon?
Yeah, it is very exciting to see that. I used to dream about this as a kid, but I try not to look at that stuff because I don't want to get into my head because I don't want to walk around having a big head, because that's not going to get me nowhere.
That's true, man. So is there any quarterback or running back or whoever in the NFL that you cannot wait to sack or tackle or offensive lineman to blow up? Is there anyone that you're really looking forward to just going against in the NFL?
Ray Davis.
You want to tackle your guy, Ray Davis?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great, man. I'm sure he's had enough of that in practice, so he'd probably be pretty sick of it playing in the NFL as well. He's probably hoping that you get to go to Buffalo with him, man. But that'd be pretty great. So you mentioned before you're trying to get at 330 right now. Is that kind of like the ideal weight for you right now? Is like around 330 to play at this year?
Yeah, 330, 325-ish.
Wow, that'd be great, man. That'd honestly be great. I mean, the fact that you were that dominant, 350 last year is like that's even scarier for what you could be even more next year. All right, so I wanted to ask you about Louisville, man, because you had a great quote about how much you hate Louisville. How excited are you to play them again next year on November 30th?
Man, I can't wait. It's always a rivalry game. We always get chippy, even though I got a couple friends over there. And then we just got one of our tight ends went there, Isaiah Cummings.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't wait to show them that they still love, bro.
No, I love that, man. Is there any players in college football that you're looking forward to playing against this year, or is that just something that you don't really care about?
Not really players. I can't wait to play against Texas though.
Yeah, that'd be great, man. There's their left tackle, Kelvin Banks, will probably be a top 10 pick like yourself. So if you can get on the edge and play against Kelvin Banks, I'm sure I'd be very appreciative of that to get that tape out there, and I'm sure a lot of other people would be. So maybe talk to your coaches a little bit and be like, hey, coach, let me play on the edge this week and go against Kelvin a little bit. Speaking of that, man, have you gone to your coaches for a little bit about getting you on offense mood? We got to get you some goal line packages out there, man.
Man, we actually had to play Drew up for a Louisville game last year. It's called Big Cat, and I go out for like a little wheel route.
You would have caught it, right?
Yeah, no doubt.
You got to moss someone out there, dude. That'd be great.
Yeah, just put me on the outside. Let me get a fade ball.
Dude, that'd be you want to play like outside receiver out there?
Yeah.
Can you imagine like a corner trying to go up against you? Like, dude, how do I press this guy, man? Like, you can't. You're just gonna literally forklift him off the line of scrimmage. That'd be great. A couple more questions. Yeah, I really appreciate the time, dude. A lot of kids, dude, look up to you. They obviously for so many of us when we grew up, we wanted to be like Reggie Bush or whatever college players we watched growing up. A lot of kids watching it now, they want to be like Dion Walker. What advice would you give to those kids as football players, as people, as anything? What advice would you give to those kids?
Just always be yourself, because I've seen a lot of guys, a lot of old friends of mine that, wanted to be someone that they wasn't, wanted to be something that they wasn't, just to try and fit in. Just always be yourself. You know what's true to you. You know what's right and wrong, and just stay doing good in the classroom and put your head down and work. And it's all gonna work out.
I love that, man. Last question I want to ask you: what should we expect from Deone Walker in 2024?
A dog.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Well, this is an awesome interview, Dion. I cannot wait to watch you this season, dude. And it's going to be a fun ride, I think, for you this upcoming season. So appreciate the time, dude, and best of luck this upcoming year.
Yes, sir. Thank you.